Best.Podcast.Ever is sponsored by the Gertzberg Law Firm, an award-winning, full-service business law firm in Cleveland and Chagrin Falls that is changing the way businesses hire and pay for their attorneys. Go to gertzberglaw.com to learn more. While you're there, check out Cover My 6, a one-of-a-kind, complete legal audit of the 6 areas most likely to get a business sued or investigated. Lawsuits no longer have to be the cost of doing business. They are distracting, time-consuming, expensive, and with Cover My 6, often avoidable. Go to covermy6.com to learn how we keep your company safe. Enjoy the show.
Hey, folks, stay tuned after the podcast for a 10-minute legal discussion with one of the attorneys from the Gertzberg Law Firm about something you probably want to know.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the best podcast ever recorded.
Hi, Molly Gebler.
Hi, Alex Gertzberg.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic.
Oh, that's so good. I'm fantastic, too.
You look fantastic.
We made an offer to our new staff, and they accepted our offer
Is
today.
that right?
So,
That's
yes.
big news.
Yeah, that's 290 resumes down to 17 phone interviews to 7 face-to-face interviews to a hire. We actually had 2 great candidates. So I'm very excited.
So by the time this airs, this person will either be happy in his or her job. Is it a boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Or she will have gone the way of the dodo, and
Yes.
you will be miserable looking for another
By the
candidate.
time she starts, I will have been a month without somebody, and that is a long time.
What is her name?
I'm not going to say that yet.
Okay.
Not going to say that yet.
But she's obviously passed the multiple layers of Molly
Oh, yes.
vetting her.
Yes, vetted, interviewed.
You should have let me vet her. I'm really good at vetting people.
I had 2 board members. I think you're going to be happy with her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But hey, can we
Sure.
talk about all of my favorite actors are apparently sexual predators.
Oh, wow.
Right? And including my favorite politician who was
Franken.
Al Franken was hilarious and a great senator. And
Was that picture true? I haven't been able to follow. There was a picture.
Yeah.
Is she sleeping or?
she's sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then there was words about it being time stamped and the date didn't mesh. Did that ever come out? Is that a true picture?
Well, he came out and just said, "Yeah, I did it. I was wrong. The picture's authentic." Louis C.K. I was a big fan of. To be honest, I don't know. I think where I'm landing in all of this is I take and retain the right to judge anybody who I think has wronged other people, right? I give them credit for fessing up and not denying it and saying I'm sorry and trying to make it right. But actually the other day I was thinking, because it's like every day there's somebody else.
It's crazy.
Right? And do you think that we're at a point where it's turning into like a mass hysteria movement, right? Where at some point there's going to be false accusations against people, Like I don't think anyone has been legitimately falsely accused yet. But like Jeremy Piven from Entourage.
What's with
he
him?
just got thrown under the
What?
bus, and there was a joke on some late night show. I think it was like Seth Meyers. He goes, and they already made a documentary about it. It's called Entourage. But it seems like it's it's almost like a bubble, like in stock market, or it's so loud now, and everyone.
And I don't even want to say what I want to say because you can't anymore. You just can't.
Yeah, well,
So.
I don't know, you can say what you want to say.
No.
I won't stop you.
No.
All right. See, this is where you and I are different. You err on the side of discretion, whereas I say, screw it. I'm just going to say it and just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
No, but it is. I definitely see a lot of good that's coming out of it, in the sense that, like, I was having drinks with 2 of our former podcast guests, Nadine and Becky McMahon, right? And what I was telling them the other day was, I've definitely become a lot more aware of other guys and how they talk about women and hit on women, right? Like, do you ever see how some dudes just blatantly stare at a woman's butt when she walks by, like openly, you know? Like, no.
Well, I mean, it's usually my butt, and I can't see
because you're walking away, right?
Right, but
yeah. I don't think, I was telling them this, I don't think that I was as aware of how dehumanizing that is until now, that it is part of like a national discussion now that most guys can't ignore.
I have to watch my eyes.
Yeah, especially around Kevin Love. Yeah, man, Kevin, if you're listening and you want to file a sexual harassment claim against Molly,
I am taking my dad to his first Cavs game, and I'm so excited. And the Cavs have been so kind to me, just
lovely.
because he can't walk. He can, but. So they're going to pick him up from the catwalk. They're going to wheel him. He's going to have his own little first game lanyard on. And yes, I'm very excited. He doesn't know it yet. So
lovely.
But it's so funny because he does have dementia, but he always makes sure that the Cavs are on. You know, where are the Cavs on? Should we be putting the Cavs on the TV? And he never seems to forget that. So sorry, I went sideways with Kevin Love.
That's okay.
I saw Wonder.
Really? Was it really sad?
Must see.
Really?
It is, yes. For any age, it is very powerful. It's a great story, great message.
Is it a true story? It was a novel.
It was a novel.
Yeah. Is it like...
Reminded me a lot of Mask.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of Mask. Even the little kid better get an Oscar.
Okay.
Because I literally had to see if that was his face.
Right.
Yeah, that must go. Must go.
Okay.
So you should bring your kids, not Maya, but all the other ones.
I think that I will. I think I will see that.
It's an amazing
Oh, speaking
film.
of which, dude, so Ina took Maya to see My Little Pony the other day.
Oh, boy.
Hold on, listen to this. So first of all, it's way too scary for a 4-year-old. Maya freaked out. Apparently there's some scary scenes in My Little Pony, yeah. Ina said that
Who would have thunk?
Listen to this. Dude, this is the craziest thing. Ina said that when she walked into that movie theater, it was just her and Maya, just the two of them watching the movie, nobody else in the theater. Maya starts freaking out about 15 minutes into it. And so they walked out and they look up and it's this one creepy dude all by himself in the top row.
See.
Listen. So I was telling Nellie this story.
He's taping it.
No, there is an entire weird following. Yeah. And there's a documentary about it called I think it's called My Little Brony or something like that.
Are they doing nasty things?
I don't know, but you look it up.
I'm
and
going to.
There is in fact a weird
there
adult man following for My Little Pony.
Is there a message that My Little Pony is putting out in the...
No, I think it is creepy. I think it's just why.
I thought you were going to tell me something like the lights went off again or something. That's weird. That's weird.
No, but Jacob and I did go back to see that movie Thor.
You used your ticket?
I recommend that. that movie
That's
to anybody who
Helmsworth,
likes...
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Great use of Led Zeppelin in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, throughout. Which, when you listen to it loud, makes perfect sense to use in that movie during battle scenes.
When we went to see Wonder, Thor was playing next door, and it was very distracting. Just the noise of.
Well, that theater didn't do it. Was it at Chagrin?
No, it was in Mayfield.
Okay. Yeah, they got to do something about.
That should be soundproofy type of thing.
Trying to get my Wonder on. You know
right?
what I mean?
Right? I know, but that kid, he needs a.
Right.
Julia Roberts was great. Luke.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
He was he was really, really good in it. It was a great movie. Bring Kleenex. I cried the whole time.
Okay.
You know that.
Hi, Nellie Gertzberg.
Hi, best hosts ever.
I love your little skirt today.
Thank you.
So cute.
Why don't you come sit and banter with us?
It's great to see you. We should really have Nellie as a guest and talk all about her trip.
Why have we not booked Nellie as a guest?
know.
She's so busy.
There's so much I could talk about. My life is so fascinating.
It is
Well, you just
fascinating.
went to a huge trip to Israel.
The Holy
That's
Land.
true. We just bought our tickets to
Yes.
Florida for like 2 weeks from now,
Did you?
too.
Nice. I
Florida.
gotta do that.
The whole
That's not as big a deal as Israel.
Oh, but it does have just as many Jews there.
There are a lot of Jews there. It's very warm as well.
You know what? You know what the old Jews in Florida call Florida?
What?
God's waiting room.
I think a lot of people. I don't think you have to be Jewish to call
I
it
know,
that.
but we mostly know Jews there, especially where our parents live. Our parents live in sunny Isles. It's nothing but Russians
It's
and
more
Jews
like
there.
little Moscow.
It is.
Yeah.
Lots
I have
of Russians,
been
lots of
seeing
Jews.
a lot of that rainbow picture that your dad posted.
That's a nice
posted
picture.
was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
I love a good rainbow.
Speaking of really, really good dudes, today we are interviewing a man among men.
Yes.
Man among men.
Yes.
Another real mensch.
You know, he's our
my people
board
say.
member.
He is-
We'll vote on him at the December board meeting, but it's just a formality. But yes, he will be a board member of the chamber.
I thought this guy sounded very interesting.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to listening to this afterwards. But in the meantime, I'm going to go back to my office and get some more work done. Good chatting, guys.
Bye, Nellie. Thanks for stopping by.
You never know who's going to stop by at the best podcast ever.
No, you don't.
You don't.
That was a good pop in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michael Henry. So here, this dude is really interesting, and we're going to talk about some Peace Corps stuff.
I mean, let's be honest. If he wasn't interesting, he wouldn't be on our show.
You think so?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. We only have interesting people on our show.
Yeah. He is the president of the Henry Group at Keller Williams Realty. I want to ask him some real estate questions. And as you pointed out only moments ago, he is really good at marketing.
Yes, he really, really
Yeah,
is.
we're going to talk about that.
I think there might be a young lady behind the curtain
Isn't there always?
at his office, but
Yeah.
yes.
Well, and you were the voice of his video.
I was.
Yeah.
That was fun. I need to make myself an IMDb.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
It is time.
Because a voiceover, I mean, people get paid for that kind of
Well,
stuff.
I mean, here's the thing about it. Actually, I would go one further. I think what you need, Molly, is a Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Aren't those fake?
Well, sometimes. Let's bring Mike
Let's
Henry.
bring him in.
almost
Michael
said-
Henry, president of the Henry Group at Keller Williams Realty in Solon.
Perfect. I'm going to bring him in right now.
Do it. Oh, hi, Michael Henry.
Hi. How are you, Molly?
I'm lovely. I'm lovely.
What is that you're wearing around your, what is that, a
It's
chagrin,
a little map
Chagrin
of
Falls on
chagrin,
your neck?
yes.
Wow.
Joanne from
First
First
Federal.
Federal gave it to me for my birthday. Yeah,
It is so
Very
nice.
nice.
it is
You're
nice.
you're wearing chagrin. You're literally wearing chagrin
Wearing
Falls.
chagrin, yes.
And you might say that you've got chagrin Falls in your heart.
In my heart, always.
Right there.
Oh, that's so sweet, Alex.
Speaking of
so
having chagrin
sweet.
Falls in your heart,
Yes.
Michael Henry is here, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. Michael, are you having a good day?
Very good.
Yeah?
Yeah, no
Good.
complaints.
Monday. Did you sell a house today, Michael?
I did not sell a house today.
All right. Just
Not for-
checking. I'm just checking.
Not for lack of trying, I bet.
Not for lack of
No,
trying.
Right.
for sure, for
Absolutely.
sure. So Michael Henry's the president of the Henry Group at Keller Williams Realty in Solon or Solon, depending on who you ask.
Right. Or
Solon,
Nolos backward.
Ohio. No, nobody says that.
I just said it. I'm going to say
Nobody
from
says
now
it.
on, I'm calling it Nolos backwards.
No.
Nope.
No. Well, welcome to the best podcast ever, Michael.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mike, we have so many questions.
So many. You're such
Deal.
an interesting
Yeah.
person, Michael.
You are.
Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
Yes. Hey, so We were thinking we would start with our favorite topic, Haiti, right?
Sure.
And the Peace Corps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we even get to it, I
Yeah.
want to know how does an individual even decide to make that decision to go into the Peace Corps? I
Yeah.
mean, that's a huge commitment.
Sure. Peace Corps was something that I had considered growing up. Got a number of family members who had been Peace Corps volunteers or returned Peace Corps volunteers. A couple of them, family members, Judge Henry and Linda Henry, met in Lesotho as part of the Peace Corps. So I remember
Where's Lesotho?
Lesotho, small country within the borders of Africa, South Africa.
Lesotho.
So,
Did you know that?
Very small
I do not.
country.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, it's within the borders of South Africa?
Yes,
Uh,
in the mountains.
when were you there?
I've never been
Oh,
there.
your parents
No.
met there, you said.
My
No,
aunt
uncle.
and uncle met
I
there.
gotta start paying
And
attention.
Come on.
then another uncle was in the Peace Corps in Kenya.
Okay.
And so I just remember being around campfires and hearing their stories. And my Uncle Patrick talked about his experience in Kenya and Africa. And that it sounded like such a cool adventure. And, you know, the service aspect of it became more interesting and appealing to me over time, too.
What's the
So-
process to become a person in the Peace Corps?
Sure. So they don't consider anyone who doesn't have their undergraduate degree completed, and the application process can take 6 months up to a year or longer. Yeah.
Do you know what the pass rate is or acceptance rate is?
You know what? I'm not sure exactly.
I think it's hard. It's hard to get into.
I think it's become more and more selective as they've had more people interested. So
Do you know where you're going when you're do you get to choose where you're going to go? Or?
You get to request kind of areas of interest. And so for me, it was Africa, and I didn't get invited to go to Africa. I was asked to go to Haiti. So I didn't know much about Haiti. I was quite disappointed when I first found out. And then I did some research and learned what a unique place Haiti was and how similar really it was to a lot of West African countries. So,
Is there a physical component to it? Do you have to be able to, I don't know, is there any physical training to go to it or?
So the biggest thing before you leave is medical clearance and stuff, but then most of the training is done in country. In Haiti, it was 10 weeks of training. You're living with a host family, absorbed in the culture entirely and language, and then you're going to during that 10 weeks, meeting with your training staff and learning more about how you're gonna be fitting into these different cultures and how you can contribute to different projects. And you don't really know a whole lot about what you're going to be doing exactly until you're there, really. So,
And what's the benefit for somebody to be in the Peace Corps when you get out? Are you getting college loans taken care of, or is there a benefit to go?
You know, they provide a small stipend, a readjustment allowance. They call it. I think it was about $6,000 when I was there, but otherwise, you know, you're not paid. Your expenses are paid for. But you know, you ask about what the benefits are. I mean, looking back is as much as I did in trying to help people while I was there, you can't help but look back and wonder, gosh, I really probably benefited more than anybody else through this, because it's just has an incredible impact on your view of the world and your understanding of people, and just changes you as a person.
And what's the mission when you're there? Do you guys go with a certain mission that you want to change lives? You want to make the area better? What is?
Sure. So, make
And
sure
then
I
I'll
get
let you
this right.
talk,
But
Alex.
the Peace Corps,
No, you're doing great, Molly.
the Peace Corps has 3 objectives. The first being that United States is sending volunteers that have technical expertise in certain areas, business, agriculture, whatever it may be, to help people learn and to make make an impact on their lives. The second objective is for the Peace Corps, or for the volunteers to learn as much as they can about another culture, and bring that back. So so I said training was the first one. The other two are about learning. So helping other countries to understand the U.S. culture, and then the U.S. Helping the U.S. to understand other cultures. So it's really a big part of their mission is just to seek understanding and to develop relationships.
I think John F. Kennedy either started it or
He did.
He did start it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So how old are you when you joined?
I was 21.
Wow.
And how long
Yeah.
are you? And you went straight to Haiti?
I did. Mm-hmm.
How long are you there for?
2 years. I was
Okay.
there for 24 months. It should have been 27 months. The final 3 months because it's 3 months of training essentially, or 10 weeks of training, and then 2 years of service. And before I finished, there were some security issues. President Aristide was escorted out of Haiti by the U.S. government at that time, and they decided to evacuate the program. So Haiti's one of these Peace Corps programs that I think they've evacuated 3 times. There's no current program now. I know they've talked about reinstating it, but I don't know where they're at currently.
It's not working there, I'm thinking.
There's just
There's no
some
peace. No peace being
instability.
brought. Yeah. Yeah.
Instability, and it's unfortunate because.
So what is Haiti like? What's it like? I mean,
is
you're
it
living
like?
with a family, or
Well, and to be clear, is this before the earthquake that you're there, or after?
Yes.
Okay.
there's no cable.
Yeah,
Really
2002
poor
to
country.
2004 is when I was there.
Yeah.
Very poor country. So you've got, like anywhere, you've got, city living, and then you've got rural areas. And my placement was in the Northeast Department. It's essentially, it's funny. I was like it felt like I was in a desert. One thing I was looking forward to when I went to Haiti was I looked at the map and did some research and realized that, really I'm either going to be up in the mountains or I'm going to be near a beach or on a beach, because all the communities were up in the mountains or on the beach, and they found the one place to assign me to that was the desert. So it was just in the middle of nowhere. It was a dust bowl, one of the main roads between the North City, Cap Haitian, and the Dominican Republic border. It was kind of out in the middle out there. And
And you're with a family?
I was with a family for a while, and one of your first assignments is to work on finding your own housing. So a family welcomed me into their home. I learned some about this agriculture project I was going to be working and collaborating on, and then I spent some time trying to figure out where I was going to either rent a room in a house or rent a house by myself. I had a budget, and I spent some time looking, and finally met this old man who was, not totally deaf, but just about totally deaf. And he was the nicest man, and he wanted to speak to me, and it was just so challenging to talk to him, because here I'm trying to learn the language. He has to see my mouth and read my lips to understand me. And I liked the guy so much, so I was like, you know what, this was just meant to be. Like, I'm gonna live with this guy on the other side of his house, and it's just gonna be a hoot. And
was
it was really interesting, and
So what's your job there? After you get settled in, you find your house.
Sure.
What do you got to do?
So there's different technical assignments, and mine was a small business advisor. So I had studied economics in college, and so my placement was in business, but found out quickly that business in Haiti is agriculture. So there's agriculture volunteers who had, technical expertise in that, and I was a business volunteer, and we were essentially all doing the same types
Right.
of stuff. But my goal was to help, get a cooperative of farmers organized, and worked on, some small grant assistance for them, helped them get some irrigation set up through a grant from a Rotary Club, and then, over time, your assignment, your assignment may or may not, continue all the way through your 2 years. And in my case, it did not. And you kind of have to kind of work your way through and find your own additional assignments. So over time, I was teaching, health and HIV/AIDS education.
AIDS was a
prevention.
giant problem over there, right?
It's not as much as a lot of people think. It was.
Oh, really?
There was a kind of a stigma placed on Haiti that AIDS came from there, but it wasn't the case. It was a problem, but it wasn't like kind of the some of those countries where it was major problems in Africa.
It
was
definitely
never quite there.
Yeah, I never heard that the rumor that's where AIDS came from, but I definitely remember a time when that's what was on the news every day. That's like in the Caribbean, the worst AIDS epidemic area.
Yes.
was in Haiti. And I guess I always thought that a big part of it was just because of how poor it was. So they didn't really have the benefit of. My assumption was that it was because they condoms and education and just preventive measures that other countries might take. They might not have as much, but you're saying it was overhyped to begin with.
It was overhyped. If you look at and I learned more about the data with my jobs in Haiti that kind of followed my Peace Corps experience. But I learned that the national, I think, percentage of HIV positive was in the range of 7 to 8%. Certain areas of the country. Along the borders, for example, that were more like pass-through cities or cities where truckers and there were just a lot of people coming through and on work. Those cities had higher rates or tested for higher rates, and then other cities were lower. But the average was like 7 to 8%.
But that's a big number, though.
It was.
That's huge.
And what I learned over time was that. In the following years, we saw that number go down.
Yeah.
And one of the programs I worked with was funded by USAID and involved getting more people tested and getting better data. And there was a lot of talk about, looking back all these years, they've been testing people who were sick, people who were in hospitals and in clinics and being sick, and those are the people who were getting tested. And so now anybody that goes into a clinic for just about anything, if you haven't been in a hospital for a long time, they just test you. So the different, before it was just sick people getting tested, and now more and more people are getting tested. Sample. So it makes you think about, wow, where does this data come from, and what was,
was it really 7%? Yeah,
exactly.
Hey, did you? Is it true that voodoo is a religion in Haiti?
It is.
It is, right?
It is.
Did you see any kind of voodoo practicing happening?
Did you see dolls?
Absolutely saw some voodoo happening. Yeah, I mean, it's all around you, and it was strangely somewhat intertwined with the Catholic Church, and
really?
Catholic faith. Yeah,
Tell.
there are different saints, and
Molly can't
Don't
wait to
give
hear.
Alex any more.
my knowledge is limited, but
It can't be any more weird than the pony, the My Little Pony cult. Do you know about the My Little Pony cult?
You heard about this?
I do not know about
Dude,
the cult. No.
Look up, I think it's called My Little Brony. And apparently there is this really creepy group, cult following of old dudes who like My Little Pony obsessively.
And there was one.
And there was one in a movie theater when my daughter went to see it over the weekend. And
What?
yeah,
No.
yeah, I don't. Man, what if there's just?
No.
Man, it can't be normal, right? I mean, there's no way.
No,
Right.
there's no way.
No, there's no way. It's got to be illicit.
Are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm trying to decide if we can give anyone the benefit of the doubt.
No.
Old men cannot like My Little Pony.
No.
Certainly not alone in a movie.
No.
Theater. Not allowed.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
I think you're right.
At least bring your grandkid or something, for Pete's sakes, or pick some kid up the street. I mean, don't
Molly.
just go there by yourself.
I don't think that's the answer.
Oh, no, that's not the answer.
Leave the kids out of this.
Oh, yeah. All right, so back to voodoo.
Anywho.
So is voodoo all dolls, or is it?
No.
No,
It's
it's
not.
it's magic.
There's
or
lots of
it's-
rituals and
yeah.
dancing.
Praying to spirits and spirits coming and, taking over someone's body.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get an
Yeah.
Alex voodoo doll for Christmas.
I don't even know how to react to that.
Yeah.
Blessed.
There are
Blessed.
voodoo doctors, so a big part of voodoo
right.
is people are sick. If
Yeah.
they believe in voodoo and if
Right.
they've, tried other things and they're not getting the results they want, then they'll go see the voodoo doctor, and the voodoo doctor will
Yeah.
tell them to do X, Y, and Z, and then they'll be fine.
What was the most powerful experience? And then I'm going to ask you what your worst experience was in Haiti.
Most powerful and worst may be very similar, probably around the time of the earthquake. So
Were you there?
So you were there?
I was there. Yeah.
Wow.
I had actually had flown. I was living in Haiti about 50% of the time, back and forth at that point. So I was between Florida and Haiti. Flew in that morning, checked into the hotel, went to the office, and it was just after our staff had left at the end of the day. When they left at 4, and it was after 4 o'clock when the earthquake hit. So I was still in the office working, and we were sharing office space. I was working with a group called Cross International. We were sharing office space in Haiti with an organization called Save the Children. So the building shook at basically and I was on the second floor, that every building around us fell to the ground.
Yeah.
And somehow our building
Wow.
was very well constructed and didn't fall. So
Which is extremely unusual. So to give you some context for the listeners at home, this was one of the worst earthquakes ever, right? And Haiti being a very poor country, so it borders the Dominican Republic, right? Which is less poor than Haiti. And the Dominican Republic survived the earthquake in a way that Haiti didn't, and it completely leveled the country. And I don't know if it's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but a lot of people died.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were there.
Couple 100,000.
Couple 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're still recovering from it, right? Wow. And yeah, I mean, it turned that place into a parking lot.
So what was the first thing you did after
when it
the
happened,
rumbling stopped? Correct.
I
mean,
I couldn't get out. I was in upstairs in the office, way down a hall. I mean, I would have had to run all the way down the hall, downstairs, and then out and out to get out of the building. So I'm glad it didn't fall, because I couldn't even stand up, let alone run out.
Oh my God.
But
how long did the shaking last?
it lasted about, I want to say, about a minute. Wow. And then when it stopped, I had my phone and ran out of the building, of course, and then I wanted to try to call home right away, because I wanted to let our organization know what happened and let my wife know that I was okay before she heard about this from someone else.
Was she in Haiti? Or
She was not. She was in Florida.
Florida,
at the time,
okay.
Yeah. We had our oldest son had been born, probably, I think he was about less than a year old. Wow. So, but actually, and if I step back, as I was running out of the building, there's this one window down at the end of the hall that overlooks the city, like this whole view of the city. And as I was running out, I could see this cloud coming up. And I'm like looking at it, thinking to myself, what is this cloud? Like, and then it took me a while to realize that it was dust. It wasn't
All
until
the
later
buildings. All
that
the
it was
buildings.
just this huge cloud of dust that was slowly rising over the whole city. But I made my way out, tried to use the phone. It didn't work. The phones were already down. So I was fairly confident that the shaking had stopped. Ran back inside, grabbed my laptop, and to see if the Wi-Fi was still on, and somehow it was.
Wow.
So I
You ran
got
back
on.
into the building.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, probably not a great decision.
Probably not.
In
Probably
retrospect.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it had shaken really hard, and then it basically continued for about a minute, but lesser and lesser and lesser. It seemed like it was over for the moment. Then I knew I could get in and out in a few seconds. So got my laptop, got back out, was able to, from out in the parking lot, able to Skype home to my family. They hadn't heard anything about it. The office hadn't heard anything about it. So was able to let them know. And then within 5 minutes, the internet was gone. So, and then we had no signal or anything for about 3 weeks.
I'm assuming there are bodies everywhere.
There were bodies everywhere. There were people stuck. That was the biggest thing. So, and it was 5 o'clock. So it had just gotten dark. It was just getting dark. And we felt kind of helpless, right?
And they can't. I can't imagine that they have the kind of like first responders and the resources here, right? Bulldozers and all that, right? I mean,
Right.
is it just chaos at this point?
It's chaos. Yeah. And you know, hear people yelling and looking for help, and people walking around looking for their families because they had been out running home and digging. And so that's what we did. Was a couple people who were there at the office, we just went out, and we didn't have much to work with, but we just went out and tried to identify where people were and call for help. And but you know, you feel helpless because just, you know, people under huge amounts of weight, and you can hear them.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember when at some point when they were saying that it was a really because of all of the bodies, it was a real like biological like sanitation problem at some point. And like all the aid that was coming in, I'm starting to. I had no idea that you were there during the earthquake.
So what year is this?
this is 2011.
Okay.
They were. I remember watching it on the news, and on NBC they sent their medical team down there to report from it, and they recruited all of them to actually operate on people there, and it was just man.
2010.
2010.
Yeah,
Okay.
2010.
And do you? I mean, I would have to imagine that the sound of people and not being able to do anything about it has to still ring in your mind.
That does. Another thing that sticks out, that I think about all the time was the sound of a lot of women and children who had kind of gathered out in the street and were just kind of sitting on the side of the road through some of these areas in the city, and walking through in the dark, and hearing them sing. They were singing like, and I didn't quite understand it. They were singing their like what they would sing in church. A lot, you know, Catholicism's a big part of Haiti, and so they were singing their church songs, and it was amazing to me. I remember trying to record some of it. I was just so amazed, just trying to record the sound of it, because these people who had just lost everything were, you know, keeping themselves up,
Right.
and, you know, singing "Thank You to God." I could hear, you know, parts of it. And
Right.
just
And
amazed me.
Do you have from that day forward an appreciation, a why I better take advantage of why I'm here type of feeling? Why was I saved? Why, you know, your building wasn't even touched almost?
Right.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's another chance at life.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I've had a couple experiences like that it just
You're a
just
cat.
bizarre. Yeah.
And what's another experience?
Another experience was also in Haiti. Unrelated to the earthquake, there was a flight in Haiti from Cap Haitian. Was going through Port-de-Paix and then back to Port-au-Prince, and I was scheduled for the flight the previous day, and then I didn't go. We had some issues with our travel, so I was going to go the next day. There was room on the flight, and at the last second, I decided I'm not going to go, and that flight went down.
Ugh.
So that was another
Get
kind
out
of
here.
crazy one. Yeah.
Well, you're here for a reason, Mr. Henry.
Yeah.
That is for sure. And I hope you spend your whole lifetime trying to figure out what that reason is.
Absolutely.
Does that ever happen to you, Molly?
No. Not to that
Well,
degree at all.
Yeah, but
no.
just like a close call.
No.
No.
Well, other than the driving down the street the other day without any brake lights on in the
Right,
tornado, but wow. Okay, we're done.
That's a crazy story, man.
That is just, and not even on our research. We're gonna have to fire our
Nelly, how'd you miss that one?
our research person.
But let's finish that up though. So
I can't even.
how much longer are you in Haiti after the earthquake?
I was there at that time for about 2 weeks.
2 more weeks after that.
Yeah. There were opportunities to go, and I didn't feel like I just couldn't leave,
Yeah.
And then by the time we had kind of another group of program officers from our organization who were kind of coming down to take over, then I left at that point.
And
So
there was
the flights were all backed up, of
a
course.
president
Everybody was trying to get out.
thing right there that you said, right?
Aristide.
That
Right.
was years before.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. So
that
this
was during
is
Peace
you,
Corps.
so
This is
you're-
years
okay,
later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. Did you? Okay.
So 2002
So
to 2004
now I'm
was Peace Corps.
understanding. Got you. You returned back.
And went back and, had
What
taken
were you
a
doing then?
job.
Were you working there? So you
At
were
that
working.
point, I was working with this nonprofit organization called Cross
Okay.
International,
Okay.
and was
I'm back,
essentially the
everybody.
program officer. This organization was raising money through churches in the U.S., and they still do this, of course. They raise money in the U.S. and then are distributing grants, small grant assistance to grassroots organizations, orphanages, churches, in partnerships with governments in the developing world. So
Okay.
Florida's proximity to Haiti made Haiti kind of an easy place to be, the biggest partner country of Cross International.
So Michael, for the next 2 weeks, then all you're doing is like rescue stuff and helping.
Trying to
people, right?
gather information. We had probably 25 different community-based partners there. So, and they're like our people. They're like family. So trying to figure out, is this person okay? Is this person okay? Did the hospital fall? Did the school fall?
Did you lose friends and coworkers?
I only a couple somehow. It's like another thing that was really surprising to me was so many people that I knew had lost people, but none of the folks that I was really close with died.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then you come home, and do you become a realtor right away, or is there?
This was, let's see, about
2010.
not until
2014.
2014 did I kind of come back. When I finished Peace Corps, I thought I was doing 2 years of Peace Corps and then going to come back and get into real estate, and I got licensed as a loan officer first. I wanted to kind of learn the financial end, and I was young and thought it would be difficult to just jump into being a realtor. But after about a year of that experience is when I was invited to go back for a job, and that was related to managing the supply chain for an HIV/AIDS program. And that was through an organization called iTech. It's part of the University of Washington in Seattle, and they had the contract from USAID to distribute all of the lab supplies, test kits, equipments to all the clinics and hospitals in Haiti. So I went back down for that, and then the contract on that program with iTech was running out, and I was offered another position with Cross, and I was with Cross International for about 7 years.
And not in Haiti though.
I was in Haiti for full time with Cross for like a year. Then I was back to Florida. My wife and I had gotten engaged before I went back, and we were looking for a way to meet somewhere halfway between Ohio and Haiti. I wanted to kind of continue on that work path, and she was a school counselor, so she got a job in a couple of Catholic schools in Florida. So, and I working with Cross, their headquarters was in Florida, so it was a good fit for a while. And so I was in Haiti full time. Then I was back and forth, and then I was back in Haiti after the earthquake full time as a country director. Our office grew and rented our own space and kind of built out an office there and hired a staff, and we had a lot of additional funding after the earthquake, of course. So, and then I was back in Florida and traveling 50% again, visiting other countries now. So I got to travel to Africa a few times, Central America, and
still
got
doing
more
the
involved.
AIDS work, or
It was more general small grant programs that the HIV/AIDS program I worked with when I was at Cross was funding that came from the USAID, the U.S. government President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. And that was a 3-year project. And then I was working with just the private funds that had been raised by Cross and were being distributed to all these other countries. So,
and then you gave it all up to do real estate. I mean, that's a dramatic. I would assume you probably got burned out, so to speak.
Yeah, around that time, I was still traveling half my time or more and seeing some great places, but we had
you had a
2 kids at the time.
Yeah.
And the third on the way at some point, but yeah, we knew our family was growing, and we wanted to come back to Northeast Ohio and raise our family here.
And you're a Kenston grad. You're
Chagrin.
from the Chagrin grad, right? Chagrin grad. You're from the area.
Yes.
And I can see how you have a charity that we'll talk about with your real estate, and you also you're very involved in the Rotary.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have, and rumor has it you might be a board member at the Chagrin Valley Chamber of Commerce coming soon here. So it sounds like you're still keeping your nonprofit and your missions.
Absolutely.
With making maybe a bigger paycheck.
Yeah, I know. It got to a point where I definitely needed to start building a business and building a future for our family, but wanted to do it in a way where I could stay connected somehow to those, international causes and local. And I knew also that there are many, many needs here locally too. So.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Amen.
So when do you start? Why do you start getting into the real estate business, and when is that?
It was
How do you
something
fall into it.
From back in college. It was something I was always interested in. I just remember thinking from an economics perspective, what asset is more valuable in someone's life. There's only so much land in the world, and everyone needs to live somewhere. And I was very lucky to grow up where I grew up and with a family that had connections to some amazing real estate, river frontage, and just amazing property. And I always just loved the idea of, I'm so lucky my grandparents were able to provide that for me, and I'd like to be able to do that for my kids. And then, when it comes to buying and selling a home, I mean, there's really no bigger purchase that most people make in their lifetime. So to help them through that process and empower them to, be able to make good decisions and, get the most when they're selling and get a good deal when they're buying and find their family home, I thought I always knew would be very rewarding. So.
And then it's the Henry Group at Keller Williams Realty. So is it's its own entity?
It is
right?
its own entity.
That's licensed with Keller
we
Williams.
are a team, an agent. It's basically the name of our agent team business, and the name's changing. So
Oh,
it's
is this
moving.
breaking news, Michael Henry?
It's
Breaking news.
It's a scoop.
Oh
breaking
my! What is it gonna be?
It's going to be HG Agents, short for Henry Group Agents. And we're going through kind of a rebranding. We have
When will that
some
take place?
new office space that we're going to be finalizing the lease and then going to be building that out over the next month and
Will it
making room for
be
some extra people.
in Solon again?
It's looking that way. Yeah, we've
Okay.
been looking at Bainbridge and Solon.
Okay.
So there's a space that is basically right across the hall from where our broker is at. That's available, and that would be
You
convenient.
know that the Heart of Chagrin right below us is leaving.
Is that true?
Right?
Really? I didn't know that.
That's going to be a cool space.
Interesting.
So I've got real estate questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Did you ever see Freakonomics? Or read it?
I don't know.
All right. So
You are a freak when it comes to
I know.
reading.
So Freakonomics has an entire chapter on how realtors are subconsciously incentivized behaviorally to sometimes, right?
Gosh, you're getting really deep.
I know,
My
I
head's
know.
blowing
But
up.
like they're incentivized to make a deal, right? They get
Sure.
paid when the deal closes, right? And so what would be a potentially big difference in price for the buyer or the seller, right, is from a commission standpoint a small difference for the realtor, right? And so they did this study in Freakonomics that showed that there was a large percentage of realtors, definitely not Michael Henry, but some realtors out there who were a little bit unscrupulous about this, were a little bit dishonest, right? And would like pressure their client to do a deal even though it wasn't within their price range, for
I'm
example,
sure.
right? So like they would tell the seller, you're going to lose this buyer, or they'll tell the buyer, you're going to lose this house, right? And so I will tell you this. I've bought and sold a fair amount of homes right now, I don't know, a few. And I've definitely experienced good realtors and who I can tell because of like a really close, almost like a family relationship that I can trust. And those who I couldn't trust who definitely were doing that, right? The first house that I bought was definitely a bad realtor, right?
Okay.
Who was unduly pressuring us to make a deal happen that was not in our interest.
Well, I'm sure that hinders you too, because you've got to fight these
Yeah.
what people think of you.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not true because that's not you, but
Yeah.
you're.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's a
That
stigma.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my first question to you, Michael, is
Get to it.
if I'm going to talk aimlessly for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to ask you a question. No, if I am just a homeowner trying to sell a home, or if I've hired a buyer's agent to represent me, like how can I protect myself from that kind of behavioral pattern or that kind of person if I don't know them at all, if I've just Googled them? You know what I mean?
Right. I would say a couple things. You said it yourself that you could tell the difference when you worked with someone that you trusted,
could,
that you liked, or they were family, or you had a trust relationship. And I think that's important. I mean, it's important to hire somebody that you know is going to be your advocate and have your intentions all the way through the transaction.
So referral.
Yeah.
At
be
the
a-
same time, there is a huge benefit in working with somebody who knows the market, knows the local market, is able to effectively use market data that is available to us as realtors to understand pricing and put you in the best position. So there's kind of a balance. If your brother or sister is a realtor, but they don't actually do it full time, or they sell a couple houses a year and that's it, you might be better off going to somebody that's full time in the industry that knows how to position you to get the very most. So,
And you and I have talked about this. It's hard because this is someone's home,
Right.
and they're
It's emotional.
connected to it. It's emotional, and then you're a good agent, which you are, is someone who's going to know, this is the price that, and they're like, oh, they have a certain number in their head, or,
Right.
and that's a battle. I mean, but it's so, what buyers, in my opinion, need to know is you need to step back for a minute, because you got one opportunity to make that first impression, and that price is huge. It needs to be on point.
Sure.
It just needs to be.
Part of
Listen.
part of our job too is not only for us to understand your motivation as a buyer or a seller, but to help you understand your own motivation and have the conversations and say, you know what, if you don't find exactly what you're looking for, you okay waiting for a while. If you don't get it for the right price, is that okay? This market that we've been in for the past couple of years really has been, especially in the Chagrin area, has been very much a seller's market where there's a limited inventory. Homes are flying off the market. And, if our advice often to a buyer is, if you have found a house that you love, then it's time to go buy it. Like, you don't mess around.
It's like at Mark's. If you see that thing,
right,
just get it.
And we can, help position you to, there's ways to try to position you to get it for the right price and what have you. But it's just, it's been a seller's market in some regards and in certain markets and with certain types of homes.
Do you see that continuing? Do you have the ability to see a trend, a couple months down the road, or?
No, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I would think not. I mean,
we don't. We see
right.
We see trends from the past 6 months and what direction it's going. But another thing we know is that you don't know that the market has changed until you're already there. You've already, taken a step and realized, what, my house just didn't sell, and all of a sudden things are kind of falling around you, and it's really difficult to predict when the market will shift. We know it's coming. It's just a matter of time and a question of when.
And buyers want to buy, move in, right?
Often, yes. We see more demand for homes that are move-in ready. People who are working professionals that you don't want to take the time to make the improvements, maybe little things, but there's less demand for stuff that is needing a lot of work. So,
what's the experience that so if I didn't know you and I came to you to sell my house, right? What's my experience with your group, and how is it different from my experience with any other realtor?
So, a big part of your experience will be the experience of our marketing, our approach to marketing a home. We've kind of built a system where we're providing as much visibility to your house as possible, and getting that visibility from some avenues that are a little bit different than a lot of our competition do. So we do some paid advertising. We have a coming soon program that we feel like, especially in this market, has been a huge advantage for our sellers, and that is basically generating interest around a property before it's available. We've seen a house go on the market, and then people come in the first day and they want to make an offer and they want a response today, and that kind of puts the seller in a difficult position, because yes, they want to entertain an offer, but they also have 5, 6, 7 showings lined up over the next few days. So with our coming soon program, we're able to get most everybody in that first day.
But 10%, I want to make sure that that's said, 10%. So you sell my house, and then I get to select a charity that I like, and then you give 10%.
Basically, once we've kind of eliminated the costs associated with getting the house marketed and sold, we do a breakdown, and it's basically 10% of the net agent fee. So the sales commission, for example, is split between the brokerage and the agent, and there's but yeah, we've kind of worked backwards and been able to do that.
Very
and
cool.
it's
Very,
been-
very cool.
That's awesome.
It's been very cool.
That's very unusual. I mean, that is rare for anyone to do that. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing anything like that before. Have you, Molly?
No.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Henry.
Right. But it's certainly consistent with the whole giving.
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
got a
and
theme
you're
going.
very
Well,
charitable.
can I say he
Thanks.
went to John Carroll, and so I
Is that what it was?
Catholic, and that's what we do.
All right, so Chagrin Falls.
What's a Campion Award?
Forget Chagrin Falls. What's a Campion Award?
Yeah, but that's what it says. I think she missed
That's
the
what
H.
no,
Is
that's
it
what it is.
Campion?
There's a Campion Shield Award she must have saw. Yeah.
okay.
It's an award from John Carroll for after that earthquake relief and response efforts. Yeah.
Oh, look at you. All right, let's talk about
Way too
Chagrin
much,
Falls.
Molly.
No, but the
I
the
really thought it
description-
was Champion.
Of course you did, Molly. The Campion Shield recognizes heroism and bravery among members of the John Carroll community.
That's so badass.
Heroism and bravery.
That's badass.
Yeah. What does the shield look like? Is it a real shield? Because that would be bad.
glass. It's
come on,
it's a
John
piece of
Carroll.
glass.
Come on,
An
give the
actual
man.
shield would have been
Give the
nice.
man a real
That would have
shield.
been so badass.
I would.
Michael walking around the village with his shield and
I would have it on my back, right? And then I would like bust it out.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, they need to work on that, I think.
Come on, John Carroll.
So is it sitting right next to your Chamber Member of the Year award?
Of course, it's waiting for our new office space. Actually, yeah.
Could it
then they're
fit?
all going to be unveiled.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That
in
was
some tight quarters right now. So
Michael was the Chamber Member of the Year last year, and it was a cool trophy award. I
Yes.
liked it. It was made by the Glass Asylum, but well deserved. Well deserved.
We were in the running. We didn't make it.
Not for Member of the Year, for Business of the Year.
Business
you
of the
were.
Year. Oh,
yeah,
this was
Member of the Year.
Year.
Correct.
I would have gladly ceded the title though. So Chagrin Falls.
Yes.
Chagrin Falls.
Falls.
You dig on Chagrin Falls. You
Absolutely.
love Chagrin Falls. What? Because you're in Solon. You live in Chagrin Falls?
we just moved back to South Russell. Yeah.
Oh, he's
South
from
Russell.
Chagrin Falls.
From Chagrin
Went to
Falls.
We moved back to the neighborhood I grew up in, Lake Louise.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Lake
yeah.
Louise. Where's that?
It's off of Bell, east of 306.
From Bell East
There's a
of
few little lake
306.
communities out there
Okay.
if you're familiar. You've
Yeah.
got Kensington and Maple Springs.
All the cool
and
people live out in the
Paw
lake
Paw Lake is
communities.
out
I know where
there.
Lake Lucerne is.
Chagrin Lakes. That's Bainbridge. We're talking Chagrin Falls. Actually, we're talking South Russell.
Don't look down your nose. At
I did not look
Bainbridge.
down
I
my
saw
nose
that
at
sneer.
Bainbridge.
That was-
Absolutely not.
It's
you.
a small version of Lake Lucerne. Lake Lucerne, I think, is about 300 houses, and
Yeah.
Lake Louise is like 60.
It's not. Well, it's not a competition.
Chagrin Lakes has 8 lakes, just so you know.
Oh.
I think it's 8. Yeah.
I thought it was 7, and
Oh, maybe
Jeannie and
7.
Jason told me 5, so I have no idea.
Oh, whatever.
I will say that the video, the drone video, is that on your website? Can people find it on
The
your website?
Chagrin video or the Lake
Yeah.
Lucerne one?
The
We did a
Chagrin-
Lake Lucerne one too.
Yeah.
No, the Chagrin one with Molly's
With Molly,
voice.
yes.
That was amazing.
That
That
was
was really cool.
chilling.
She did a great
Yeah.
job
Chills.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, it had
Oh,
like that it had that like that music that just kind of give you the
Yes.
You know what's so
shivers.
great about that is that was not scripted, and he had already had footage,
Mm-hmm.
and he just asked me questions, and it all just fell into place.
pulled
I mean,
together.
it
Yeah.
was crazy.
Compliments
crazy.
to Ross
Yes,
Henry,
Ross.
my cousin and videographer. It does a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's a cool video. And so if you go to Michael Henry awesomevideos.com, is that where I find it? Where do I
Something
find
like
Find
that.
it on the website or on our Facebook page.
Facebook
Yeah.
page.
it? All right, let's
Lightning round.
let's go to the lightning round. You ready for the
Lightning
lightning
round.
round questions,
I don't
Michael?
know.
Lightning round.
It's about to get real.
Up
It
to
is.
gets.
Get your shield.
Yeah, go home. All right.
right.
Molly, did we ever settle on whether we're going to retain the old lightning round questions?
I'm not.
You're not in favor of
my
those?
point has been proven.
You want to move forward?
So I'm just going to do my two new ones. I will not ask the mother one because my point is proven.
I forgot what your point was and when
Well,
was it
that there's
proven?
always a powerful woman behind a man.
Oh, I don't. Nobody ever debated that.
No,
right.
I just was proving it.
All right, that's cool.
Podcast after podcast.
All right.
Would you like me to start with my two?
Sure.
All right, Michael Henry, what's on your mind right now?
What's on my mind right now?
What's weighing heavy?
Looking forward to eventually getting back and hanging out with my kids a little bit. I didn't see them too much over the past few days, so
Why?
they had a little overnight with Grandma and Grandpa, which was great.
Oh, yes.
Which was great, but
Where
yeah,
are
you know the
Grandma
days
and
go by
Grandpa?
fast. They are in Manaway now.
Okay.
They were on North Main Street up until about 4 years ago, and they're out near the border of Aurora and Manaway.
Okay. And then my next question is, what are you binging? TV binging, even though it's TV.
Right now,
What are you binging?
and my wife pretty much drives this conversation. So right now it's Homeland.
Oh, okay.
Which season are you on?
I think 3.
Okay, I had to
It's
stop.
getting a little slow. I'm like,
I had to stop
Did
halfway
it
through
come
second.
back? Did
I don't know.
it come back? Like I felt it left for a long time, and then it came back. I don't know. I just finished West Wing. Just finished it.
Okay.
The West Wing.
okay.
Yeah, I just finished it. I really feel like it could have gone on with Jimmy Smits.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could have gone on. Why didn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have to talk to Aaron Sorkin. Yes. What are you binging, Alex? Something stupid.
No, well, I've decided to go on a media fast.
Oh my gosh!
I was watching too much TV, and so you know, you ever hear that saying? Sometimes you choose a book, and sometimes the book chooses you.
Yes. No, I've never heard that.
You've never heard that? Really? Have you ever heard that, Michael?
There has been no book that has
Well, I
ever
know what-
chosen me.
You've
Trust
never
me.
heard that. I was in the Chagrin Falls Library right over here on Orange Street.
Orange.
Whatever, yeah. And they were having a book sale, and the book that jumped right out at me was the autobiography of Nelson Mandela.
Oh.
And I've
Cool.
been reading that. I've been
you.
binging on that every single day for like 2 weeks, because what I was doing was I was watching late night comedy, you know, to go to sleep, and it just got me all fired up and laughing, and I would be up until like midnight. So I've been reading that book.
Can I make the point that it took you said less than a day to read
Helter
Manson's,
Skelter.
and it's taken you 2 weeks to read
Dude, well,
Nelson Mandela?
First
What's
of all,
going on there, Chief?
the Nelson Mandela autobiography is like 1,000 pages.
Okay.
It's really
Okay.
thick. And I'm only reading it for like the last 20 minutes of the day
Got
before
you.
I pass out.
Okay, that's
you know?
that would be a great book. If I were
It's
a reader,
fantastic.
that would be the book.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it's really good.
amazing. He's amazing. All right, Alex Gertzberg, go ahead.
If you were stranded on a desert island, and you could bring with you only one musician's discography, whose discography would you bring?
Wow.
Deep.
Let's say it's Haiti, 2010. There's
Go
only-
back to what I had at that time.
There's only one record player there.
Oh my gosh.
CD player.
Let me think here.
Michael's young, so
It's a pup.
I might do like a Coldplay.
Ooh, interesting.
You know, something to. I don't know. I like a lot of their music, so more
Nice.
positive.
Did that dude just die recently? Is that somebody else?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think. I'm not sure though.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I did just see Olivia Newton-John in concert. She was phenomenal.
Olivia Newton-John, really?
She was phenomenal.
Wow.
Didn't sound any different than she had always
Did she
sounded.
sing "You're the One That I Want"?
Yes, she did. Yes, she
Did you
did.
say? Did you
She
sing
did
with
not sing Sam, which I was very sad about.
her? I don't know, Sam. Did she sing Xanadu?
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Oh,
yes.
Lord. Michael Henry, if you were stranded on that same desert island and could only bring one author's library, what author's library would you bring?
Gosh. I read a lot of books that come from one author and then move on. And a lot of what I'm reading now is related to, building a business.
Right.
So if I'm stuck on an island, I have no need for that. So I'm like thinking, geez,
That's all right.
what is...
We don't need to stress you out about these questions.
No,
all
we're not
good.
leaving until he answers, dang it.
John
give me a
Gershwin.
couple minutes and I'm going to
Well,
find one.
Want to come back to it? We can come back to it. All right.
Come back to it.
I'm gonna pull from the archives here, Molly, because I am gonna ask one of the previous versions of the lightning round, and that is the final one.
Obviously.
That one gets to stay.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
All right,
yeah.
for sure. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Michael, you ready? This is the
Yes.
most
Because I
important
can't
question.
wait to hear this one.
I know, me too.
Okay.
What is an embarrassing thing about yourself that nobody else knows?
Or something you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Or something I did.
Or something
Well,
you've worn.
I'll
But
tell you. And
not-
this kind of goes together with my blanking on remembering an author. I would say the fact that at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, I'm walking out of my house, get in the car, and I'm ready to pull out, and I'm like, I don't have something. I had to go back in the house and get something. It's just almost daily.
Wow.
It's brutal. It's
Alex-
getting my age here. I'm
Alex
just
isn't going to
forgetful.
let you get away with that one.
I actually.
It's the daily
can
part that's the
sympathize.
embarrassing.
I can sympathize.
I too,
I don't have
yeah.
You notice I don't have my laptop here today. Sitting on my kitchen counter right now.
I hear you. I
Oh,
hear you.
man.
I'm with you on that
Do you
one for
find?
sure.
Do you think that that's happening more as you get older? Because I am.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Well, that makes me feel very good because I thought it's because I don't read and use my brain as much. So I'm feeling very good that you
No, it's 'cause of
too
that.
have. You then why? What
For
would your
you.
reason be?
I don't know.
Oh, that makes me feel very, very good.
We're here for you, Molly.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
All right. Did you think of your favorite author
I've
yet?
got my author. Yes, I think I would if I'm stuck on an island.
Right.
I'm going Hunter S. Thompson.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
That's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Molly.
Thank you.
You've seen the movie, I'm sure.
No.
No, Johnny Depp? No.
Rum Diaries. Some good ones.
Wow, that would be good. And he's got a lot of stuff out there, a lot of books.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
a lot more that I would like to actually read. So, yeah, I have a nice collection there.
Well, this has been. What did we learn today, Molly? We learned about the Haitian earthquake.
That Michael was there.
Yeah. We learned about
Real
his
estate.
heroism and bravery there.
His shield.
His shield.
Yes, his Campion shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learned how to.
How he's rebranding, and we're excited about that next adventure.
Right.
Which with the HG
Agents.
HG agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
We learned about the
Sounds
experience.
like they
secret agent. You should call it HG secret agents.
Yeah. So what's next? What are we looking forward to? Any events? What's coming up? What do we see down the pike other than
Down the
Thanksgiving?
pike.
Which we're not allowed to mention.
Personal stuff. Let's see. I would say, yeah, we've got a trip to Texas coming up for Christmas. Jeannie and I will be heading to Arizona for some training for our new database CRM system. So that'll be interesting.
Lovely.
Okay, and they can check you out at what is your website?
It's still going to be at chagrinvalleyrealty.com.
Check them out. You've got all your houses listed and like you on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Henry Real Estate Group.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you? What's coming up for you, Alex?
There's a
Kurtzberg?
couple big things.
Tell.
Yeah, a couple big things. So first of all, I think this will be the very first podcast to make this announcement. So covermysix.com, right, is officially out there. It's a website. It's a service of the Gertzberg Law Firm, and it is one of a kind. It's an audit of a business's 6 areas that are most likely to either cause or prevent it from getting sued, right? Insurance, corporate, customer relations, employee relations, vendor relations, and IT and internet. And so we go in and we do an end-to-end audit of a company to keep the owners out of court so that they can focus on selling houses or selling widgets or anything else. And it's something I'm really proud of, and I've been working on it for a long time, and now it's out there. So go to
congratulations.
Thanks, Molly.
Gertzberg, where should they go?
covermy6.com, and that's SIX, not the number 6.
Cool.
Yeah. And at this point, we are in full essay contest mode. Are you going to read some essays?
I'll read some essays.
Good,
Nice,
good,
nice.
good. We need essay readers. We've got lots and lots of students that are going to be submitting essays, up to 6,000 of them, because that's how many students go to the 7 schools that are participating this year. So if you go to gertzberglaw.com and click on essay contest, you'll be able to go to that site, and you'll see a Be a Judge link and a Be a Sponsor link.
We need both, Alex.
We do need both, Molly Gebler. That is a co-production of the Gertzberg Law Firm and the Chagrin Valley
Third
Chamber
year
of
in a
Commerce.
row.
3rd year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you, Molly?
Well, I would like to invite everybody to Burntwood Tavern to sit in my new chair.
Ooh.
I have a chair there that's been
Is
dedicated
that
to
true?
me. Yes,
Really?
and I will post the picture up.
No
I am
way.
planning a red ribbon cutting of my chair. Yes.
What?
I'm just working with Dave Joyce's office because I need to make sure he is there for my ribbon
goodness.
for my ribbon cutting of my chair. Yes,
That's
it's the
huge
first
news.
chair. They do bar stools, but they know that I'm not a bar person. So they surprised me over the weekend, and it
Oh, my
says,
goodness.
it's my husband and I, it says VIP John and Molly Gebler. And it's on the back of one of the chairs, table 43, if you really want to know. But of the Chagrin, yeah, it's
Does
big,
it have
big deal.
Does
big
it have
deal.
armrests?
No, none of their chairs.
Come
have
on,
armrests.
Burntwood Tavern.
None of their
This
chairs
is
have
Molly.
armrests. No, but I did go in the other day. And they surprised me with it, and then we went in, I don't know, a week later, and they were all like fumbling around because someone was sitting in the table. I'm like, I don't care if I don't expect the table to be empty waiting for me. But
Wow,
it was pretty
that's
awesome.
big. That's
It
like
was pretty.
That's like
pretty
getting a
awesome.
star on Hollywood
Exactly.
Boulevard right
That's
there, Molly.
exactly
That's
what it was like.
That's big news.
Exactly what it was like.
Oh, my
yes.
goodness.
Yes. So
Oh, well,
that's my
congratulations,
news. Yes,
Molly.
thank you. You'll all be invited to the ribbon cutting. I'm going to bring the big scissors and all.
All right, awesome.
And if someone's sitting in it, we'll kick them out.
Yeah,
for
get,
the...
out of Molly's chair, man.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
fun.
And thank you, all million listeners at home. We appreciate
Yes.
you. Go to thebestpodcastever.com, click subscribe, go to our Facebook page, click link, or link, click
Whatever.
click like or follow, which I'm learning there's a difference. I don't know what options you've got there.
I
but
did research that a little bit, but
Yeah. Well, whatever's there, click on that.
click it.
And that
And
way,
Michael Henry's page.
Michael Henry's page. Make sure you
and
go
do
there.
a little shout out with the holiday season coming upon us.
Shop local.
Shop local.
Get your local shopping on.
Get your local shopping on. You can get it all right here.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Molly. Thanks,
Michael.
folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Later.
Thanks.
Hi, Gene Friedman.
Hello, Alex Gertzberg.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Did you have a good week?
I had a very busy and productive week.
You did?
Yes.
You've been very busy. You've been litigating a lot. You've been doing deals. You're kind of a jack of all trades over here.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
I think that is true to a certain degree.
What parts of practicing law do you appeal to you the most, would you say?
What appeals to me the most, I think learning about our clients' business. We deal with a lot of small and mid-sized businesses So we get a broad spectrum of type of business clients, and we get to learn a little bit something about their business. And you get to, over the course of dealing with your clients, you get to become knowledgeable in a lot of different industries.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just thinking about that, right? I mean, so you definitely have more car dealership knowledge, I'd say, than any other lawyer at this firm at this point, having represented dozens and dozens of them.
That's probably an accurate statement.
Right.
Myself and Mark Turner, I think he's got a lot of knowledge as well.
Right. But then, yeah, I mean, you got manufacturers, software companies, travel companies.
Real estate companies.
Yeah. What do you like doing more, the transactional stuff or the litigation?
I think I like both.
Yeah.
I think I certainly like the transactional stuff, but I think we're getting to some of the more interesting work sometimes in litigation. I think specifically on transactions, I really like trademark work.
Mm-hmm.
I think we
Intellectual property.
Intellectual property. We've certainly had, I think, a lot more work on that recently, and it's been interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and in real estate.
In real estate.
Which brings us to our topic today.
Drum roll.
Ooh, there will be one, actually. Our good friend Nellie Gertzberg will be providing a drum roll right here. All right, leases, right? We're talking about real estate leases.
We're talking about real estate leases, and everybody has seen one. Hopefully, everyone probably has signed one at some point before buying a house or before, moving into their first location when they open up a business. But not everybody knows all the formalities of execution of a lease.
Right. And a lot of the many listeners at home are business owners, so more likely than not, they are tenants. But there are probably also some among them that are investors in real estate business. Maybe they're part owners of a building that has office leases in them.
Right.
Leases definitely are, I think, a sort of ubiquitous presence in business, right? You really can't escape them. Somewhere, someone in your business is operating under a lease. And it's also equipment leases, but we're just talking about real estate leases right now, right?
Yeah, we're talking about real estate leases because because real estate leases come under the Ohio statute of frauds,
right?
Where you need to have them signed in writing, and not only that, certain leases have to be notarized
in order to be enforced.
In order to be enforceable,
right? So you said certain leases, not all leases.
Not all leases.
Right.
So there's an exception to leases that are less than 3 years in duration.
Those still have to be signed but don't have to be notarized, is that right?
Right. They do not have to be notarized. But if you have a lease that is 3 years or longer, it has to be signed and it has to be notarized at least by the lessor, at least by the owner.
Right. And what happens, and it's funny how overlooked this concept is. I mean, I bet you folks listening at home, if you have a lease somewhere in your life and you look at it, there's a good chunk of you that have signed leases for 3 or more years where there's not a notary stamp and a notary signature on it. And in that case, Gene, what kind of lease is that?
Well, it's going to be deemed an invalid lease, except if there's also already been payments under that lease. And the court's going to say that that is technically a lease for periodic term for whatever it is, the term that you pay under that lease. So typically it's going to be a month-to-month lease.
Right.
Because most of us have lease terms that say you have to pay your lease monthly.
Right.
Now, not only, you can take a look at your lease and you can say, no, my lease is not a 3-year lease. I have a tenant here who's only going to be here for 2 years. I'm okay. I don't need to get any notarization, and it's an extra pain in the ass.
Right.
Well, there's other circumstances that arise where you do need that notarization. So let's say you have a lease that's for a 1-year term, but it has an automatic renewal.
Mm.
Because of that automatic renewal, that puts you right back into that. It could be performed over a term of more than 3 years. and that also requires notarization.
Interesting. So if you don't get a notary to notarize your lease, and a notary is really, it's every attorney's a notary, right? And
Right.
most banks have a notary there.
True.
And really what they're doing, if they're doing their job correctly, is they're validating your signature. They're asking
Your
for your
identity,
ID.
right.
They're basically swearing to anyone who looks at that signature later that you are, in fact, the person who signed it. Right. So if they have a non-notarized lease that has a term of over 3 years, either in its original term or by an extension, it will be deemed usually a month-to-month lease without that notary stamp.
That's right. So either party, this is the result here, is either party can then get out of that lease
Right.
by saying that lease is only good until the next month is up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that rule comes from Old England. I do. I think that's old property law, the statute of frauds, and I don't know why 3 years is any better than 2 years or 1 year, but
It's a good point.
yeah. So, all right. What about personal guarantees? You know anything about those?
If you can get by without signing one, do
Right.
it. That's as far as I know.
Right. But I do think that there is law in Ohio that says that a personal guarantee is going to be deemed to be effective only for an original term unless the guarantor separately signs an extension in the lease agreement. And I believe the rule is that it has to say that it has to be explicit that they are guaranteeing the tenant's obligations for extension term.
But here's the takeaway.
Yes.
I think most long-term leases are really not your residential leases, because typically residential leases are 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Your business leases, your commercial leases tend to be for a longer term.
Right.
So whether you're a landlord or a tenant, you don't want to be in a situation as a landlord where you've agreed to do a build-out for somebody.
Right.
You've put in a lot of money only to have that tenant leave.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you have an attorney representing you who understands proper execution of that lease. And on the other hand, you don't want to be moving your business into a different location and then having that situation arise where the landlord wants to terminate the lease.
Yeah, I would say this too, Gene. As a general proposition, businesses, when dealing with real estate leases, should not be penny wise and pound foolish. And by that I mean, think about what the total liability is on that lease when you think about whether to have an attorney consult on it. Because you think that an attorney's review of your lease is going to be too expensive, and maybe you're a startup and you're just trying to get your feet off the ground, your business off the ground. And so you read the lease, you think you understand all the terms, and you sign it because you don't think you have any leverage with the landlord anyway. But here's the thing. When you add up the liability in rent, plus there's likely going to be a provision in there about paying your portion of operating expenses. There's going to be provisions about what happens in the event of default. You're going to want to negotiate notices and rights to cure.
That's a good point. I mean, some people think they got a right to renew, but they don't know how quickly and what type of notice they have to provide the landlord to actually exercise that option before they lose it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, landlord provided leases, which is most leases, meaning they hand you a form to sign, are probably going to be pretty one-sided in the landlord's favor. The landlord almost certainly had an attorney draft it, and the remedies that the lease gives to the landlord are going to be pretty draconian in the event of any kind of technical breach. So, and you're signing as a business tenant, not as a consumer, not as a a residential tenant. What that means is that the Ohio Landlord Tenant Act is not going to protect you as much as it would if you were signing as a consumer for an apartment rental or a house rental. So have an attorney review every commercial lease that you sign. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Gene, anything else you can think of?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank you very much, Gene. Thanks for listening, folks. See you next time.